Welcome to Property TV. I'm Col Mooney, and on today's show we talk with George Hadgelis, the principal of Ray White Ashgrove, Paddington, about some of the obvious mistakes that sellers make, especially in a buyer's market. And our feature property, it's a stunning new build in the avenues of Ashgrove. But first, here's the market update with Kevin Turner.
Thank you. Well, the property market certainly got spooked recently when the federal government hinted that they might scrap negative gearing tax incentives. I agree that changes need to be made to the superannuation scheme to make it more progressive, and that the first home saver scheme maybe should be scrapped. But the federal government need to leave changes to negative gearing incentives off the table. The first home savers account scheme simply has not worked. It's too restrictive in how the funds can be used and doesn't account for the fact that it's hard for young people to save for a deposit and be expected to invest additional funds into a superannuation scheme at the same time. Young people's superannuation guarantee payments should be channelled into compulsory savings accounts to finance house deposits, because anything that encourages savings rather than spending right now is good for the Australian economy. A house is the single biggest purchase most of us will ever make in our lifetime. And if there's a way that we can make that easier for young Australians who want to do so, then I think it's a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. The real estate market, just like the weather, is forever changing and in a lot of ways very predictable. You simply need to ask somebody who has successfully experienced a similar market as to what we're going through, and more importantly, come through it. Somebody like my guest, George Hadgelis from Ray White Ashgrove and Paddington. George, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Well, thank you very much for asking me over, Col.
George, in your 30 years experience, we've surely been through and come through something like this.
Yes, we have, and I think it's very similar to that 1990, early 90s period. This is a good time. Buyers like this marketplace. Agents like this marketplace, and sellers indeed can benefit from a marketplace like this. And there's a number of things that sellers can do today to really maximise the return on their property, particularly if they're looking to sell in this market today.
Well, let's look at that. Talking to a number of agents, the open home numbers are certainly up. Prices or properties are selling. Those who are not selling, what are some of the obvious mistakes that they can avoid?
Look, I think if you are selling in today's market, you've got a genuine reason to want to go to market. And I think buyers understand what a realistic seller is all about. I think if you're selling today, you need to look at some really fundamental things. Importantly, I think you need to consider pricing. And if you're not marketing without a price by auction or tender, or sales by expression of interest, you really need to get the price right. And I think the mistake a lot of owners make is they think they have to add a margin, a 10% margin or even greater margin, which gives them the opportunity to negotiate. Unfortunately, that mistake compounds itself and means that people just ignore the property. Buyers, legitimate buyers, ignore the property and then move on to the next one and the next one after that. So the most important thing, I think, is for a seller to do their research, interview a series of agents, competent agents, make sure that they don't just pick the agent that's busiest, but the agent that really will get them the result that they want, the one that fits the glove. And then it's important to price the property correctly to get the outcome that they want. And I think they are two really fundamental things. And the other thing I do say to owners is, importantly, lots of agents will walk through the door and give you testimonials for people that they have sold for. Find an agent, interview an agent that hasn't sold for a seller, and see if you can get a testimonial from the seller that hasn't sold. That way, that might tell you something about the agent you're about to deal with.
Terrific. Okay, good advice. George Hadgelis from Ray White Ashgrove and Paddington, and George has helped us compile a more detailed list along with some useful tools from Price Finder, which makes up a special seller's kit that you can get free from www.colmooneyproperty.com. Thank you, George.
That's a pleasure, Col. Thank you.
Now to our feature property. It's a stunning new build in the avenues of Ashgrove. This stunning home at 14 Banksia Avenue, Ashgrove has everything. Position, the fixtures, and finish. All that's missing is you. Imagine it, and you'll more than likely find it in the stunning new build at 14 Banksia Avenue at Ashgrove. That's our show for today. Remember, you can get your free seller's kit at www.colmooneyproperty.com. I hope to see you around at one of our opens. Until then, bye for now.